welcome back to the channel. No big green screen intro. We're simply going to look at 8 knives that I absolutely recommend as Christmas gifts. We're going to start right here in the middle, which is probably one of the best budget knives you're ever going to find. Miguron Knives Valona, and this has been one of the reigning champs in the budget category for a long time. This thing is amazing. You're looking at not just a budget knife, but a really well done budget knife. They did this in materials that really work. You got G10 steel liners. They did a good bit of weight reduction. This is a 9-inch overall knife. Actually, it's a little bit, it's like 9 1/4 to tell you the truth. It doesn't feel like it. This is a knife that is very well balanced. So not only is it budget, not only is it done in materials that won't break the bank, but it is a very, very well designed knife. Really good balance, feels good in hand. The action on it is definitely above its weight class. This thing feels as good in action, in hand, the way it cuts, and in design as some knives that are much, much more expensive. The action on it is so good. Now, mine is one of the original ones. This was a gift from Jared over at Knives Knives. This is done in DC53 steel. The new ones are done in 14C28N, and you can get them online. I will put links to these knives down below, but you are not going to find a knife that has got much more value, for your dollar than this. Big bang for your buck. And it is absolutely gorgeous. This thing does not carry or feel anywhere near as big as it is. Sometimes knives, when you get out past like 8 inches, sometimes they just feel awkward, and this thing is not. It doesn't feel like you've got too much knife. Sometimes it just feels like you lose the control when you get a bigger knife. Not the case. You can reverse flick off the fuller. You can flip off of it. It is a very attractive knife, but is also very, very functional. The blade shape and design is very good. You've got a nice edge on this where it comes down fairly decent behind the edge, but it's also not super thin. So this is a big time hard user right here. This knife gets a lot of pocket time. The finish has held up on this really well. You can see it's starting to shine up a little bit and get a little thin in places. All around, one of the best budget knives that I've ever had. Big shout out to Jared over at Knives Knives for providing this to me as a gift. So let's move on to the next knife, which is a knife you've seen in several of these videos, which is the CK01 by KATSU Knives. And the reason you keep seeing it is I keep being impressed by how good this knife is. Some of the best carbon fiber you're going to find. Nice, light knife. Now, I do know this doesn't have a pocket clip, but it does have an excellent sheath that will allow you to scout carry this very easily. It sits nice on the belt. You can carry it vertically. It is a very, very nice sheath. Coming in with a, coming with this for $80, I'm sorry, $89. There are versions of this that have got a pocket clip. I'm just going to put a link to their website so you can look at them. They have a titanium and ZDP 189 version. This one is carbon fiber and 154 cm. Some of the best heat treat on 154 cm I've had. This has held up incredibly well to cutting. It hasn't scratched very much. You've got a beautiful full convex grind, just like you would get on some much more expensive Rocksteads. The flipper tab on the top is a little bit daunting for some people, but when you realize how good the action is on this, it absolutely is easy to deploy. I have had zero issues with this. Liner lock version here, you've got a very light package. The action on it and access to the lock bar is just spectacular. I can't tell you how impressed I have been with this knife so far. Absolutely love it, to the point that I reached out to them. I am one of their affiliates now. I love all the knives that they've got. Like I said, the ZDP 189 version is a good bit more expensive, but the heat treat on that still coming in at like 69, almost 70 Rockwell. It's a great company, great knife. So let's move on to the next one. And it's the Cold Steel Kudu, which is a great gift knife for someone that you know is hard on stuff. These are under $10, and this is one of the few knives that is in that category of cheap knives that actually still has a level of quality that I would recommend. You got a ring lock on it, which is a very stable lock. It's easy to use. You use your nail neck, you open it up, it ratchets open, so it's not going to snap shut on your hands. It locks up beautifully well. I have tried really hard to make this lock fail and have yet to be able to do it, but it's simple to release. You simply pull back. You don't even have to pull hard. You put your finger in here, put your thumb on here, and it just closes and then ratchets shut. Really long blade on this. Like, it is over 10 inches on this. The ring lock actually acts as a guard where you can put your thumb on that and then get in on some cutting. Very thin blade stock, comes down to an extremely thin behind the edge, and it is done in what most people would consider a garbage steel, but cold steel really maximizes what you can get out of some of these budget steels. Their heat treat has always been amazing on their knives. The handles on it are great. They're not done in an actual plastic. It's a polymer that is extremely, extremely resilient, completely oil resistant. You're going to have a hard time breaking this. There is no real blade play in this at all. And if this is one of those things that if you get this for someone who you know is hard on stuff, you're not going to feel bad giving them something that they're going to break. This would be something that I would recommend if you know somebody that's outdoorsman, they want to have an extra knife in their pack, so they have something that maybe they can use for food prep and stuff like that. It's great. This gets used a lot for opening packages and stuff here at the house. It sits on my workbench all the time and is definitely one that I use when stuff comes in and I'm cutting open packages. So, and it's not an ugly knife. So pretty high quality coming in at a budget price.
Guys, you've heard me talk about Coffee Brand Coffee a bunch of times. I'm going to do it again real quick. Coffee Brand Coffee is a channel sponsor. They are a great company sponsoring small channels like mine, but they also are a guilt-free purchase because they do not practice any politics. They have a money-back guarantee, and they roast their coffee on demand. So if you're interested in it, my link down below in the videos saves you 10% at checkout, sometimes more depending on what they've got going on as far as specials and sales. So go check them out. Great product. Thank you very much for sponsoring the channel, Coffee Brand Coffee. Let's get back to the knife.
This next one is actually two separate knives. It's the Toughlights from Cold Steel. Either the regular Toughlight, this is the one that my father got for me years and years ago, and this is the mini Toughlight that just recently came in. They are both great knives if you're looking for a gift. I recommend this one the most. It's coming in at like $26. It is a great little knife. Still a awesome feel in hand, even from such a small knife. Incorporates the fingers in very well. And even though this is a relatively small blade, it does have a lot of cutting potential. It is like a small utility knife with a resharpenable blade. It is the smallest knife you're going to find that has a triad lock, a true triad lock. So you know it is incredibly strong. It's got a nice little pocket clip. This is something that would fit on a keychain. The larger version also coming in with a triad lock back. This is a much larger version with a good bit more blade. So either one of these is a great option if you're looking for something to give to someone to have on a keychain or have in a tackle box. This is a workhorse of a knife. And to tell you the truth, it's not a bad little knife to throw in your hip pocket if you're looking for a self-defense tool. Both of these knives, radiused from tip to tail, gives it a very comfortable grip in hand. So it just fills your hand, it fits, and it lets you get into a good angle to cut with. Even though it's a very small knife, this has a significantly larger blade, but I have to say this is the one that winds up in my pocket the most. Like I said, but the fact that either one of these are small enough to carry pretty much anywhere or put on a keychain just makes them an awesome, awesome choice. So there you go. The Cold Steel Toughlights, large or mini, either one, great gift options for Christmas. This next one's another one that you've seen on the channel a bunch of times. Hasn't been on the channel for a while, but this is the CGRB Ria. This is an awesome little gentleman's knife. It is done in a liner lock ARRPM 9 steel. Not only is it just beautifully attractive, it is a superbly functional blade. You've got a light package with a lot more cutting power and capability than you would expect. The handles on it fit your hand just about perfectly for that small of a knife. The micarta on these are beautiful. There's a bunch of different versions of this. The liner access on this is even on a small knife is still really, really good. It is a thumb stud only, but the action on it is impeccable. Look at it. It just slams open. It is hard to get this knife to fail. It just wants to snap open. Sometimes it feels like it's assisted. Good bit of weight reduction on what is an already small and light knife. The blade shape is akin to like one of the scalpel blades that you would get on a hobby knife, but done bigger. This is a great blade for cutting almost anything. And then if you want, you can upgrade, as this one has been, with a titanium pocket clip. So you can send the whole package. So if they don't like the original pocket clip, they can throw this one on, which just makes it look so much better. The fit and finish on these were and are amazing. Look at how polished the liners and everything are. Even though I've been carrying this on and off for about 2 years, I actually had to clean up the micarta for this video because it was carried so much that it was like black and sticky. So gorgeous looking knife, perfect for, you know, if you've got somebody that is more into these smaller knives like this, if you got somebody that is like an office type person and they have to have something that's office friendly, one of the best options. It even comes, now I took mine out, it comes with a spot for a lanyard that doesn't have a hole. It's a post with a hole in it. As a matter of fact, it is laying right here. There is your lanyard option for this knife. So a lot of thought went into this knife. Big shout out to CGRB for sending this one along. Let's move on to your next one, which comes from their sister company. And it's the Artisan Serus, which is designed by Ray Laconico. And I have to say, this is the most expensive one of the knives that is on this list. This is coming in $129, which still doesn't break the bank. I just had to put this in because this is such a great knife. If you have a friend that is into knives, you can't go wrong with this. Look, Ray Laconico has made some of the most iconic designs, in my opinion. I have yet to find one of his knives I don't like. This one's done gorgeously with a backspacer that has a lanyard post built into it. Beautiful micarta. CGRB and Artisan are doing some of the best micarta at the budget level I've seen. Front flipper on this that works incredibly well. It's nice and slender and long, but still has got a great shaped blade that cuts so well. The finish on this has held up really well. This one is in S35BN. There's other options that they have for price and materials, so this might not be the way to go. Titanium pocket clip. The liners on it, once again, polished where you can see them, but they're completely nested, which gives it a clean look. The blade shape on this is absolutely gorgeous. Once again, thumb stud action on this that just does not fail. It almost feels like there's a spring in there for assisted opening. I rarely will recommend top flippers, but I've got two on this list that I just think are amazing. The milling on these scales that I did have to clean up once again because it gets so much pocket carry, just has got a tactile feel. So when you're in the knife, you can feel that groove down the center. It just feels amazing in hand. And this thing cuts so well because even though this is a fairly narrow blade, they did a really good job of getting it down to a good behind the edge thickness. And this is, I followed the original factory grind on this, so this had a very good angle on it for the factory edge. So cannot go wrong with this knife. I recommend this all day and twice on Sunday. There you go. The Artisan Serus, designed by Ray Laconico. Let's move on to the next knife, which is the Trivesta Knives Orion. And I recently just did a refinish on this blade. That video should be up. Oh, before this, this had gotten all scratched up. So this is not what yours would look like, but this is an amazing budget knife. This, again, a gift from Jared over at Neves Knives. He sent this along with a package of knives one time. And I have fallen in love with this knife. It's a big and beefy knife. It is not going to break the bank because this is coming in under $100. I think this one is, hang on a second, I'll check. That's what I thought. It's under 50. Right now, these are $44. This thing is just incredible. The action on this from day one has been stellar. The blade shape on it is unique. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's an ugly knife. But it feels so good in hand because the handles are nice and thick. The blade shape is great. Their grind comes down to what allows you to sharpen it to an insanely good edge. The D2 on this is some really good D2. It took an incredible edge. Access to the liner is just about perfect. Your action is just shy of drop shut. It's even smoother now that I did the super fine stonewash on it. Pocket clip is great in and out of pocket. It does not turn into a hot spot. This is just a stellar knife all the way around. Even though this jimping back here is kind of vestigial, you do get on it and you can feel it. So I have absolutely fallen in love with this knife as I've carried. This is one of my most carried knives, to tell you the truth. If I'm going to grab a knife that I know is going to get it done every time, it's either going to be this or my Sabenza, so that should tell you what kind of a category it's in. There's other knives I do throw in my pocket, like my Spydercos and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely one of the best budget options you're going to find. So let's go ahead and move on to the final knife, and it's the QSP Penguin, which has been at the top of my recommendations list for budget knives for a long time. This is coming in under $40. These were, the last time I checked, these were $30, $35. You've got a beautiful sheep's foot or Wharncliffe, whatever you want to call it, style blade. The line's kind of blurred these days. This one is done in denim micarta. You can get it in a bunch of different versions. There's much more expensive versions of this. I don't see the allure of a much more expensive version of what is already an awesome knife. Big lanyard hole, if that's what you're into. Doesn't really bother me on this knife. Super deep carry pocket clip. The blade is just about perfectly ground for a knife that you're going to use for multiple purposes. It's not too thin. It's not too thick. It takes an incredible edge on this D2. I did add a ceramic coating to mine because I didn't want it to rust. The pocket clip just disappears in hand. This was one of the first cheaper, like cheap knives that I saw that really blew me away. And I got one of these right when they released, and I have yet to even think about getting rid of this. This gets a lot of pocket time. It spends a lot of time on the videos. So that should tell you a lot. The action on it is super smooth for such a budget knife. It's not quite drop shut, but it is so smooth. There is no friction in that. You can slow roll it. You can thumb flip it. You can reverse flip it. If you take it apart and clean it up, this hasn't been cleaned in a long time. So there you go. That was 8 knives that I absolutely recommend you add to your list of gifts that you're going to give away for this year. So guys, let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day.
There you go, guys. That was 8 knives that absolutely will make great gifts, either for knife guys or friends that aren't really knife guys, but you still want to get them a knife and get them into the hobby. So I think all of them except one were under $100, so really not breaking the bank, and a couple of them were well under 50. So guys, just a little bit of fun content. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. Tell me why. I don't want to make this video any longer. You guys know there's a bunch of affiliate links down below. There's a bunch of sponsor links down below. The affiliate links pretty much everywhere you would buy knives. I've got a link to it. Does not cost you anything extra at Sports Channel. I can save you money at Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trails. You can use my link or the coupon code Crazy Sharp, all one word. Saves you at checkout, both at Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trail. It also works at Rosecraft Knives and Fire and Forge Knives.com. I also have an Amazon store. Take that, use it for any shopping you're gonna do on Amazon, and check out the tiered benefits I've got for my paying members. It might be something you're interested in doing. It's a lot of fun. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.